Not me with my feminist literature book. Only I do know ball. Howdy, howdy everyone. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be recapping all the books that I read in October, aka Dulitober, aka my birthday month. That's right, folks. I am now officially 24 years old. What a year, what an age. I'm another year closer to having a fully developed brain. It's just great vibes all around. And so without further ado, let's get on into the books that I've read this month. And I'm also going to talk about some books I've picked up this month as well. Because why not? It's my channel. My reading stats for the month of October, brought to us by the lovely Storygraph app. I read 5 books, which amounts to 1,124 pages in 8.03 hours. My average time to finish a book was 7 days. I read 4 fiction books and 1 nonfiction book, and funnily enough, all 5 books I read were from the library. Hashtag support your local library. Without further ado, let's get on into the reviews. The first book I read was Victim by Andrew Borrega, and in this we are introduced to Javi, this Latino teenager who's lived quite a rough life. His parents lived very separate lives, and his dad in particular lived quite the lifestyle that just wasn't necessarily safe for him to be around, and their relationship was very much fragmented as a result of that. And as Avi gets older, he finds that he has a real knack for storytelling. He wants to be a writer when he's older, and so when it comes time to apply for colleges, he sits down with his counselor, tells the counselor what he wants to do, and the counselor is like, well, in order for kids like you to get in, you have to really sell yourself to the admissions committee to get into the really prestigious schools. And so Javi, being the storyteller that he is, he works his magic to get his spot into a good college, and then everything sort of unravels from there. He very much leans into his storytelling as he goes through undergrad, as he goes through his post-grad life, and really just builds his career as a writer, which is what he wanted. But the only issue with that is his pieces, while they are very real and raw, they're not necessarily his experience, if you know what I mean. And so we're following Avi as he makes all these decisions, not so great decisions. So I read Victim as an audiobook after swearing up and down that I'm in an I hate audiobook era, and honestly, I'm glad I read it as an audiobook because I feel the narrator did such a great job of portraying the emotions that were from page 1 to page end, and it was just one of those books that you have to read it on audiobook to really get into the book. And so I'm glad that's what I did. I view Victim as being both Yellowface by R.F. Kuang and Erasure by Percival Everett's cousin in a sense. They very much all sit at the satire table of looking at race and as it relates to what is and isn't considered a valuable story, or what people have to do in order to be seen, and the great lengths that they're willing to do to really get their foot in the door, whether it be in reserving a college admission spot in Javi's case, or getting a book published in June's case in Yellowface, or getting a book published and read by tons of people as in Monk's case for Erasure. And yeah, it's just one of those books I'm going to be thinking about for a while. The second book I read in October was Maame by Jessica George. This was a very highly anticipated read for me. It's been on my TBR for a hot minute. And so lo and behold, when it was available on the Libby app, I snatched it up, read it on my Kindle. And in this, we're introduced to our protagonist. She is a 20-something-year-old Ghanaian, the oldest daughter of her family. Her mother and father lived very separate lives, with her mother running her father's hotel business in Ghana, with her father battling either Parkinson's or Alzheimer's. I don't remember which one it is off the top of my head, but essentially he requires 24/7 care and support, and our protagonist helps in offering this care to him. All the while, she's in her mid-20s, and mid-20-year-olds, what do they like to do? They're trying to discover and find themselves. And so when she's given the opportunity to move out into a flat in London, things take a turn, and we go along on the ride with her as she tries to figure things out. And like I mentioned, this was a highly anticipated read for me. Just after reading the synopsis, I was like, okay, this is a book I can definitely relate to. I'm an oldest daughter. I'm in my 20s. And I really appreciated the way this book really dealt with the rage that often comes with being forced into this expectation, like, oh, you're the girl of the family, you need to do this, or you're the oldest, you need to do this. And really gave our protagonist a space to essentially crash out, or the fact that she had these responsibilities. Like there's definitely parts of the book where I was like, you know what, you go girl, you set these boundaries and you tell them like this is not how it should be. I don't want it to be this way. And the book also did a really great job of unpacking grief in several forms. I don't want to get too much into it to not spoil the book, but there was definitely parts where I was like tearing up because you could really feel the emotion that Jessica had put into the page. And yeah, I highly recommend it, especially if you're a firstborn, eldest daughter, especially in an immigrant household. The third book I read in October was Miss Kim Knows and Other Stories by Cho Nam-ju. Now, this was also a highly anticipated read for me because I had read Kim Jiyoung, born 1982, which was also written by Cho Nam-ju, and so I really just wanted to see what else is there that Cho Nam-ju has to offer. And so in Miss Kim Knows, we are given a collection of very short stories that really speak to the woman experience in South Korea. Like we're following a woman in each of the short stories and how they navigate South Korean society. It follows Kim Ji-young, born 1982, and that it is a commentary on South Korea's gender roles and this movement for feminism. And it's just a really important work overall. Although I wouldn't say it was my absolutely favorite book of the month or even of this entire year, it was still an important read for me, and it's something I'm glad I took the time to sit with and read through. And so the fourth book that I read in October, which I will 100% say is my favorite read of the month, is Prose to the People, A Celebration of Black Bookstores by Katie Mitchell. And so in this, we're learning about Katie's experience traveling across the United States in a, I think, 2 to 3 year span, learning about Black bookstores from its very inception up until how they contribute to American society and culture in its present day. And she does this by reviewing loads of archival documents, interviewing past and present bookstore owners, as well as incorporating essays and poems from prominent thought leaders on their own experiences with Black literature, Black bookstores in the United States. And my biggest takeaway from Prose to the People is that Black bookstores are such a valuable part of the Black experience in the United States, especially when thinking about the journey for Black freedom in this country. And it's just a great read. I highly encourage everyone to check it out if you haven't done so already, and it's definitely a book that I hope to have physically on my shelf in the near future. And something that really was especially fun to experience as reading the book was seeing some of the bookstores that I've had the pleasure to visit be mentioned, such as Reparations Club in Los Angeles, Traffic on Libros in Brooklyn, Sankofa Books in DC, Loyalty Books also in DC, Mahoganybooks in Maryland. You get the picture. It's a lovely, lovely book. And last but certainly not least, the fifth book I read in October was Diary of a Void by Emi Yagi. And in this, we're introduced to a Japanese woman who is working in this corporate office setting. And she is very much assigned all of the tasks that nobody else wants to do, being picking up the trash, or serving tea in meetings, or being responsible for brewing the tea. Just all these little minuscule tasks that anybody can do. They just sort of assign it to her. And it isn't until that she says that she's pregnant that she is treated like the human being that she is. Only she's not actually pregnant. It's just something that she just happened to say one day, and then everybody rolled with it. And so in the story, we're just following her pregnancy experience. And so as I think about this book and what it could possibly be saying about society, I really don't want to say that, oh, pregnant women have it easier than women who aren't pregnant, because that's just not true. Like pregnancy is a really arduous journey, but I noticed that as soon as the protagonist had mentioned that she was with child, everyone in the office definitely was a lot kinder to her. They definitely treated her as more of a human being. She was able to leave work on time, aka the time she honestly should be leaving. They took a lot of the minuscule responsibilities off her back. People were starting to learn how to make their own tea, and I don't know, like her worldview had just shifted just by saying that she was with child. And again, I don't know what the author was trying to say by having this happen. It's just interesting how she wasn't considered a human, or at least treated fairly, until she said that she was having a baby. And it's just, so many things to think about with that. And overall, I just found myself really scratching my head at this because the protagonist was really committed to the bit. Like there was no baby, but she continued as if there was one up until the very end. And I was just like, how did you even pull this off? I had so many questions upon closing the book, but yeah. Okay, now that I finished yapping about the 5 books I read in October, I'm now going to yap about the books that I bought in October, which I will preface, it was not that many because I am in my hashtag almost fully developed brain era, and I don't want to buy a lot of books. I'm a real library girl. I've always been a library girl, but now especially. Support the libraries! Anyhow, first up in my haul is Sister Outsider, Essays and Speeches by Audre Lorde, and on the back the synopsis says, presenting the essential writings of Black lesbian poet and feminist writer Audre Lorde, Sister Outsider celebrates an influential voice in 20th century literature. In this charged collection of 15 essays and speeches, Lorde takes on sexism, racism, ageism, homophobia, and class, and propounds social difference as a vehicle for action and change. Her prose is incisive, unflinching, and lyrical, reflecting struggle but ultimately offering messages of hope. And so I'm very much looking forward to this. This is a book that it's been on my radar for a long time, and as a Black thought daughter, I feel it's kind of a disgrace that I have yet to read it, and something I'm very much looking forward to in reading this book is the essay called Master's Tools Will Never Dismantle the Master's House. I believe I read this essay in full or in part when I took an intro to gender, sexuality, and women's studies at undergrad, but it's going to be nice to reread it nonetheless. And I also am excited to read it because our good sis Doechii, the Swamp Princess, had mentioned this essay when talking about things that are in her bag. And I was like, if the Swamp Princess is reading Lorde, I gotta read Lorde. You know what I mean? And so yeah, Sister Outsider. The next book from my haul is The Dewbreaker by Edwidge Danticat, and this is about we meet him late in life, a quiet man, a good father and husband, a fixture in his Brooklyn neighborhood, a landlord and barber with a terrifying scar across his face. As the book unfolds, moving seamlessly between Haiti in the 1960s and New York City today, we enter the lives of those around him and learn that he has also kept a vital, dangerous secret. Edwidge Danticat's brilliant exploration of the Dewbreaker, or torturer, is an unforgettable story of love, remorse, and hope, of personal and political rebellions, and of the compromises we make to move beyond the most intimate brushes with history. It firmly establishes her as one of America's most essential writers. Now, to know me is to know that Edwidge Danticat is one of my favorite authors, so I am very much looking forward to reading this in the coming weeks, months, hopefully not years. Hopefully not years. And before I forget, I bought both of these books at Capitol Hill Books in Washington, D.C. as part of a pre-birthday bookstore crawl. Sister Outsider is a brand new copy, while The Dewbreaker is a used copy. And the last book I bought in October was We Are Each Other's Liberation, Black and Asian Feminist Solidarities. This was edited by Rachel Coe, Jamie A. Swift, and T.D. So. And the synopsis goes, a collaborative project between Black women radicals and the Asian American Feminist Collective, We Are Each Other's Liberation envisions a cross-racial and internationalist politics that explicitly addresses solidarity between Black and Asian feminists. Bringing together organizers, artists, journalists, poets, novelists, and more, this collection introduces readers to new ways of understanding and reflecting on race and feminism. Drawing out lessons from the revolutionary work of movement forebears, including the Combahee River Collective, Claudia Jones, Grace Lee Boggs, Yuri Kochiyama, and Third World Women's Alliance, as well as Struggles Today, We Are Each Other's Liberation offers an urgent call for the just future we might build together. Again, you see me with feminist literature, just know I know ball. And so this is a book I picked up through Haymarket Books because as of right now, between November 7th, they are doing 80% off all audiobooks. And so instead of paying $9.99 for this, I paid $2, which to know me is to also know I love a deal, and this is a book I saw on Instagram a few weeks ago, and I was like, ooh, I want to read this eventually. And so when I saw it's on sale, I was like, buying it. And so yeah, I'm very much looking forward to reading this one. Like I've mentioned, and I think my last video, or maybe the video before, 2025 has just really been like a feminist text kind of year for me. I've read a number of nonfiction books that speak to that, and it's something I'm really interested in learning more about, clearly. And so yeah, I'm very much looking forward to this. Alright folks, that's all I got to talk about today. Those are all the books that I read. Those are all the books that I bought in the lovely, lovely month of October. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Let me know what you've been reading or what you've been buying, or heck, even both, in the comments below, and I'd love to yap with y'all. Thank you all so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you all in my next video. Bye-bye.